Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to yet another Track Titan community race stream. We're here in South Africa, home of Nelson Mandela, Elon Musk, and Ryan Skywalker, in no particular order. As I said, here at Kyalami in the Mercedes-AMG SLS GT3, 4.5 kilometers of circuit, 16 corners. This is a historic circuit. F1's raced here, GT challenge, everything under the sun. And joining me on this spectacular race day is Tom Jones. How are we doing?
I'm fantastic, thank you, Mr. Chappers. Very excited to be back here for this.
Emphasis on the fan. It's boiling. It's boiling here in England, where me and Tom are commentating from. We'll see. We'll see if my PC holds up for this entire stream, quite frankly, because the temperatures here in England are blistering. Blistering. How are you dealing with the heat at the minute, Tom? Have you got any top tips?
I've actually been rotating a wet towel in and out of my freezer, running that across my shoulders. And I'll tell you something. It's rather cold, you know?
I bet it is.
It works solidly for about 10 minutes, and then it gets slightly worse, but it's 10 minutes of pure bliss. So, I mean, I'm saying all this, just down the road from me last night has clocked a UK record for heat overnight, 25 degrees Celsius, and today Heathrow Airport hit over 40 degrees Celsius for the first time in the UK's history, on record. So,
yep.
You know, that's 20 minutes from my house, and you can guess how a fat bugger like me feels about this.
Likewise, us chunky boys are struggling in the heat, but we'll do our best to keep ourselves sane throughout this race. I've got a pint of water. We'll see how long that one lasts, whether that makes it through the first race or not.
Might make it qualifying.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. There might have to be a short break. There is a slightly longer break between the race and qualifying, so we're going to have plenty to talk about in this lovely, lovely track, lovely championship, lovely bit of racing, lovely all round. Speaking of,
yes,
let's take a look at the championship. Current leader Max Newt 7 coming into this weekend. Race evening rather. After a strong week out last week, he won one of the races and then came second in the second race. Third, excuse me. So he's currently leading the championship with 73 points. That is 17 points ahead of Ryan Skywalker and Henry Comsey, who were both joint on points. But of course, Ryan Skywalker did miss last week's race, and he took a week out, essentially used his drop rounds. He managed to get 4 points just from being there in the first race, but I think with some connection problems, he decided he was better off just taking it as a dropped round. But that has allowed Henry Comsey to catch up to the back of him as well, who won a race and took the fastest lap. So Henry in third position with 56 points. And then the pack behind them is getting tight. Dennis Bosman, Michelle Rodriguez separated by only 1 point for 5th and 4th. And then Alexander Gray, Hugh Jass, Isaac Gardell, Rippo and Peter Jones all kind of battling it out for the middle pack. But there's a few battles forming as they did last season, and it's about who you'd expect. But we'll see if Henry can really bring a challenge to these top two before they run away with it as they did last season.
I missed last week, but I was there just enough to see Ryan have internet issues and then be unable to attain the rest of the race. So it's very sad for him, but he's been looking rather strong in the hot lap challenge this week, so I think he is definitely looking for a double win again here today.
Yeah, he should be. He won the Hot Lap Challenge this week, so coming off the back of that, very, very strong. And of course, we're here in his backyard. This is a home race for Ryan in South Africa. I say home race. He did tell us before. He lives 14 hours from Kyalami, so I suppose that's like calling Silverstone, Henry Comsey and Max Newt's home race. But still, he's in the same country. It's in the same country, so we can count it as that. And he's sporting this beautiful South African livery with his name on it that he designed himself. So plenty for Ryan to look forward to here. I'm sure he knows the track very well. It seems like the kind of place that Ryan would do well at.
Yeah, I mean, it's got corners, it's got straights.
Well, that's it.
That's awful,
And
sorry.
no, you're bang on. And early timings do seem to be showing that Ryan is on the pace. Max Newt and Henry Comsey, this kind of line of drivers, all kind of getting into it. But Tom, actually, do you want to take us for a lap of Kyalami?
Yeah, why not? I think we're riding on board Ryan, are we, at the minute?
Yep.
Just as I managed to change off him. So we're going through the kink here first. Absolute flat here, planted. You want to stay right as you come out the final corner, no point extending. Braking just about where there's the extra rubber on the track there as you go into Crowthorne. And then going through the sweep here of, I'm just going to call it the sweep because I can't speak whatever jet ski is, just ski, whatever. Anyway, through the tight left of Barbecue there. Fantastic name, this might be Australia at this rate. Anyway, another nice long straight here, taking all the slipstream of the car ahead, and he's just a bit overcooked Sunset, but he's brought it back on a later apex to get a stronger drive out the corner on his way up to Clubhouse Bend. Getting the car really good for a late apex there, so he's able to get the power down and reduce any sort of risk of oversteers going on through. Then goes to chuck it in to the S's, but just overcooks it on the rear there, a bit too unstable. So that's probably going to be this lap. Definitely, well, almost certainly this lap isn't going to be an improvement, but he's just still getting into his groove, still making sure he's widened himself in. As we get there into the
Luke,
I think Luke up. There we go. I can speak perfect whatever language, any language I can manage it probably. Coming down long straight there at Mineshaft as you go into the Crocodiles. It's called fantastic. It really could be Australia with some of these names, you know. There we go. Getting around there nicely, using all the track runoff as he can, as he takes the flick on the inside there. Doesn't take all the curb, but does use the runoff on the outside. And then into the final corner, very tight hairpin. Getting it down, using second gear on the way out to reduce any wheel spin, and then short shifting his way up to third. Help keep it going the way he wants to. He's only got a 1/10 of a second advantage, which of course wasn't that lap he's just done. He went half a second slower there.
Yeah, so a good lap from Ryan. I've seen, a lap from Ryan there. I won't call it a good lap. He messed up a couple of places and didn't improve any time, but he is, most importantly, still leading the timings throughout this qualifying session. Max and Henry and Michelle, indeed, who's currently sat in second position, haven't managed to find an answer to that early lap that he put in, that put him onto the top of the leaderboard so far. And with just under 2.5 minutes left of qualifying, there's not much chance for these drivers to improve in their lap times. We have got a train of drivers, though, here with Ryan Skywalker, Henry Comsey, Max 7, and Michelle Rodriguez, all setting the fastest lap times right now. So they're all learning from each other and they're all improving each other's lap times, I think.
He's saying that, but I'm looking at this time board, that this sort of the relative that keeps popping up, and they're all down. The closest is Max Newt, who is a 1/10 and a bit down on his previous of Ryan's time, I think it is. But he's up on his previous best, but he's just down again still. Ryan's a 1/4 of a second down, Michelle's nearly half a second down. In fact, Max Newt is currently purple. He is 2/100ths of a second up, and I think Henry Compton has bailed out of the lap. He's 8.5 attempts down, but Max Newt here very, very well could be looking at going for a pole position, or at least getting himself onto provisional pole with this lap he's currently on. If he can just get it to the end and get a solid finish, then he should be looking good. Let's see, any second now we should get confirmation. And yes, there it is. He gets
what a lap!
Fantastic lap. Really stretched his margin. I mean, Ryan did improve ever so slightly there, but not big enough improvement. And he's got some clean air in front of him here, in front of him now, so he's going to have to try his absolute hardest to try and get this advantage. He didn't really get his gear changes right as he went into Crowthorne there, and he's just coming around a bit wide again off the apex through Barbecue. He's got a long run down to Sunset now. He's just got to try and get his head focused and get going again. Michelle's currently on a personal best lap, and Max Newt is basically aborted his lap. Ryan is down again. He's 4/10 of a second down. This is not looking like the sort of lap he wants to be doing right now.
And of course, when Ryan crosses the line right now, I'm pretty sure this is going to be the end of the qualifying session, so it's now or never for Ryan Skywalker. And it really does not look good. At this start of this lap, he's down, like you said, 4/10 of a second in this first sector alone. If Ryan can't come up with an answer in these next two sectors, he's going to cross the line well, second or worse after that fantastic lap time from Max Newt 7 putting himself into pole position. That is a blistering lap. 2/10 on Ryan Skywalker. That's one of the fastest laps I've seen today.
I can assure you he's not going to get pole position because of all these bad habits that Ryan has that he's been trying to work out of himself. He's slipping straight back into them. I think he's under a bit of pressure. He's letting these bad habits get back in, being a bit messy. He has gone slightly faster than his previous best. Overall through the second sector, he's only 3 temps down now instead of being 4.5 temps, which is better, but it's not going to be enough. A huge amount of oversteer on turn in there. So gets car nicely rotated through the corner, but just doesn't grip, doesn't go. As he comes out the other side, he does go faster, I think, but just not enough.
Only just faster, yeah, doesn't improve enough. He's still in second position. And that is the end of qualifying. There's a few drivers still to come across the line. The last across the line should be Dennis Bosman in the last sector now, but that does seem to settle it up at the top. It's Max Newt 7 starting on pole position with Ryan Skywalker in second. Dennis Bosman comes into the pits to bail out of his lap, and I don't think Michelle is going to have time for another lap. Only 2 minutes between session end, sorry, the checkered flag and session end, so that does settle it. The top 3, Max Newt 7, Ryan Skywalker and Michelle Rodriguez going into the race. This should be an interesting one coming into the first corner. Or the second corner here, because the first corner is just a kink.
It's just, yeah, but if we're in America, then we've probably got 3, they probably make 3 turns out of that.
Yep, exactly that. Thanks, Imsa. But yeah, we've got a longer countdown between races just to allow for some drivers that had connection issues last time, Ryan. But he hasn't seemed to have had those connection issues today, so we've got a little bit of time for the drivers to get ready to get the, well, I'd say, actually no, I think there's only a few drivers that are actually in England, so the drivers can have the gloves on without overheating as we are. But on the grid, we do have 8 drivers ready and raring to go. And it looks set to be a good race. Michelle Rodriguez is going to start in third alongside Henry Comsey, Max Newt 7 and Ryan Skywalker on the first row. And I've started that very awkwardly, but I'm not 100% sure who's behind them, and the timing tower doesn't particularly help. So we'll see how it goes. And I usually ask Spit Slam this every week, Tom. Who's going to be in front by the first corner?
For once, I don't know. Ryan's notorious for either nailing the start or ending up last. And Max Newt is ever reliable. So realistically, it's anyone's guess. I think Ryan does have a slight advantage being in second. I'm saying this, I can't see the names above those cars. You say Ryan was on the right-hand side? I think he is.
He's on the left-hand side.
He's on the left-hand side.
Oh, sorry.
So,
excuse me. Sorry. My camera is on the left-hand side. He's actually on the right-hand side of the grid. Excuse me there.
So he's got the inside for that little kink, so he's able to hug that round. So he's going to have less distance to travel on his way down to turn 1. But, you know, it's also the racing line, so it's the grippier part of the track. So he's got all these advantages playing for him. It's just whether he can actually launch the car for a change.
Yeah, it really does depend on that. I think if he gets a good start, he's going to be in good stead, like you said, inside line for the kink, and then, well, he can try and hang it around the outside of the first corner. It's a corner that's fairly receptive to it. It's because it's got quite a wide radius. We'll see if he can nail the apex or if Max Newt can get that blistering start that he so desires. But it's 2 white-ish SLSs on the front row for you. Ryan Skywalker versus Max Newt 7, as it has been for the last 15 weeks, including Season 1 and 2, and now 3, and we've got 6 red lights on for this race. It's round 4 underway here at Kyalami, and Ryan does get that good start, but it's not quite good enough compared to Michelle Rodriguez, who's had an absolute blistering start there. Coming into the kink, he's challenging Max Newt 7 for the lead of the race. He moves to the outside of the first corner here. Max Newt 7 right on the inside, defending that inside line, but Ryan Skywalker sweeps around the outside, hugs that line. Michelle Rodriguez is thrown very out wide there off the exit curb, but he's managed to hold on to that second place position. Max Newt 7's all over the inside corner there, all over the sausage curb on the inside there, and meanwhile Henry Comsey and Hugh Jass are battling out for 4th and 5th position, but Ryan Skywalker extending his lead up at the front, but he's still very, very much getting tailed by Michelle Rodriguez and Max Newt 7, who are both got the bit between the teeth coming through these first few corners. Now coming up towards Clubhouse corner here, Michelle Rodriguez sticking to his line, trying to defend from Max Newt 7, who we know can attack very, very quickly and can launch serious move down the inside if he so wants to. But here we are coming through the S's in towards Learcop at the back end of the circuit. Michelle Rodriguez looking to make a move around the outside of Ryan Skalka. He's alongside him. He's almost ahead of him before the corner starts, but he's stuck on the outside line. He's going to try and switch back, but Ryan Skalka parks it right on the racing line. Then Michelle Rodriguez unable to make any moves past him, and he's going to have to settle for second position for yet another corner as he comes down the back end of the circuit through the mine shaft up towards Crocodiles. Michelle Rodriguez is very wide there, almost on the grass, and that's allowed Max 7 to come right up the inside of him in towards Crocodiles. Oh, and they've touched, and Max 7 has gone round. The championship leader has gone round on the exit off turn 13. He's going to drop all the way down into 6th position, just ahead of El Ripo there after a little bit of a touch with Michelle Rodriguez. No fault of either of the drivers there. I think that was a bit of a racing incident, but Michelle Rodriguez and Henry Comsey now locked into a battle. The next Finnish man in the line is going to battle him across the line, but at the end of the first lap, that's Ryan Skywalker from Michelle Rodriguez, Henry Comsey, Hugh Jass, Dennis Bosman, and now Max 7 in 6th. Wow, what a first lap there, and well, for Ryan Skywalker, and what a terrible first lap that was for Max 7. So.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very close one to turn 1. Ryan just had that outside line, like I said, and he used it to maximum advantage. And Michelle Rodriguez just came absolutely out of nowhere and just initially made it 3 wide, but backed out a little bit, but was able to just send it around the outside. Ryan had a nice healthy lead there on his way into barbecue, but just kind of forgot about the fact there's a corner there and just didn't really turn, braked far too late, which has really allowed Michelle and Henry to climb right up onto the back of him, which is exactly the sort of thing Max Newt is going to be needing them to do. These guys want to be a bit clever. I think they should just tuck in behind each other and just go for a bit, and then as it gets late to the race and Max hasn't been able to catch up to them, then they can start scrapping. But I assume Henry's going to want to try and fight his way to the front, so he's going to have to fight with Michelle, and Ryan needs to keep focusing if he wants to win this race and stay ahead. So we'll see what happens. Ryan's doing a good job to build that gap again. Michelle's holding steady, pulling a little bit away from Henry. Just got to do his very best. There's a lot of long straights here, of course, which is really going to help Henry stay on the back of Michelle.
Yeah, certainly the two here in second and third position are still locked together, still fighting very close, which is nice to see. But I'll tell you what, there might be a little talking point here, because the sim setups that we use for the Hot Lap Challenge and then the races each week are set up by some of our top users, and this week it was set up by Henry Comsey. This could play into his hands if it fits his driving style more. Michelle Rodriguez was a little bit confused by some of the gear ratios that he found earlier on, but seems to be handling it very well and seems to be holding his own against Henry Comsey now as we watch Max 7 hang get around the outside of the kink and get himself up past Dennis Bosman for 5th position, holding that inside line, making a move very cleanly in through Crowthorne and up past the Yuxke sweep. He's got a hold of that 5th position very, very safely. Next in line for him is Hugh Jass. Alexander Gray seems to have passed El Ripo. These two drivers currently battling out through the Yuxke sweep, coming through barbecue now, and Alex is safely up past El Ripo. El Ripo down to the back of the grid once again. This driver really struggled last week in the Toyota Supras. Hopefully he doesn't struggle so much today and is able to bring the fight back towards Alex here for 7th. But
yeah, definitely Max is making a move now on Hugh. Hugh's managed to run wide a few corners in a row, and that's just allowed Max to sneak on the inside. Now he's just got a few seconds up the road, and then he'll be with Henry. He can see that lead group, and as you say about that lead group, Michelle is going for a move around the outside, has the lead on Ryan. Ryan's gone to the inside to make a lunge, and he's gone a bit wide. Michelle's done the old 1-2, thank you, with a solid cut back there to take the lead of this race. Ryan, once again, taking the lead. He's clearly fastest on pace. He has the speed. He's pulled gaps on them, and he's just managed to waste it every single time so far. He sent it back up the inside, not wanting to waste any time and get back on past Michelle. But all of this is allowing Henry to get right up onto the pair of them, and is really in the perfect position to take advantage. Huge cut to the jump on the inside there. I wonder if he's gotten a slowdown from that, but once again he's going defensive again. At some point he needs to stop going defensive if he wants any hope to build a margin behind. It's allowed Henry to get right up onto the back of them, and Max Newt already is within 2.5 seconds, so he's going to be looking. He's over a second and a half faster than this group on that last lap, so this is going to be a very tightly contested race.
Yeah, good spots there. Tom is really getting tight at the top here. These top 4 battling it out. Michelle Rodriguez and Henry Comsey going side by side through the Yuxke sweep and through barbecue. Now Henry Comsey not able to make the move there that he wanted to out of turn 1. But like you said, Max 7 is catching up to this group. And the more they battle, the more they keep dicing at each other, the more they're going to miss out. And Max Newsom's just got to keep catching up to them as he is now. Dennis Bosman's managed to get himself past Hugh Jass without issue there. I assume he must have gone very wide on one of the corners.
Ryan's run wide again. He's losing time. He was building over a second margin from Michelle, and he's already thrown away nearly half a second. As a result of it, he really needs to sort himself out, especially through Clubhouse. He really seems to struggle there a lot, which makes him very vulnerable in the long run up to Luke.
Exactly, it's a very long run down to here. It's a prime overtaking spot, as we did see from Michelle Rodriguez last lap around. Not going to happen this time round, but it's something that Ryan needs to master if he's going to hold on to this first place position. For now, it's a very, very slim hole he's got. He's running super wide out of mineshaft as well there, and that's disadvantaging him coming into the crocodiles. That was a little bit Spanish there. El cocodrilos. Look, the crocodiles here. But Michelle Rodriguez is just capitalising on those little mistakes that Ryan's doing, and he's keeping him very honest here. If Ryan makes one too many of these mistakes, Michelle is going to be well and truly on him. And Ryan's only got so many mistakes in the bag here before Max Newt 7 catches up to him, most importantly for the championship.
Yeah, Ryan's been in a perfect position just to run away at the race, and he's just absolutely decided not to do it. He's made so many mistakes. He's probably cost himself about 3 or 4 seconds purely in mistakes, and it's really, really a joke. He had a fantastic opportunity. Max Newt was nearly 6 seconds behind, I think it was, when he had his initial spin. He lost a hell of a lot of time, and through all the fact he's made mistakes, which has allowed the likes of Michelle and Henry to get right up onto the back of him, the defending he's then had to do on top, the fact he lost the position, they had to fight it back, it's really cost him a lot of time on track. And as a result, Max Newt is now just 2 seconds behind. He's made a little mistake there, so he's dropped back a bit, but Ryan's really got to try and just get his head down and focus if he wants any chance of winning this race, because we all know if he starts driving like this when Max is right behind him, then it's only going to end one way for him, and it's going to be a great victory for Max if it happens.
Certainly, but however, we do have 2 fantastic drivers in between Max and Ryan Skywalker, which is, well, Ryan would hope will play into his hands, because it's not going to be very easy for Max to pass Henry and Michelle. At the pace that they're driving at, they're both driving very, very well, and we know they can both defend positions. And these two, of course, are still both within the championship fight, well and truly. Henry Comsey definitely is. He's on the same amount of points as Ryan Skywalker, so absolutely no counting him out. And Michelle Rodriguez isn't too far off the pair of them neither. So both of these drivers are going to want to get the best possible point scoring positions they possibly can. But, well, Ryan's making it easy for them because he keeps making these mistakes, and he's just allowed Michelle Rodriguez to close half a second of him in the last sector alone.
Yeah, he's braking about, I don't know, 25 metres too late, I think, roughly is where we're looking at. And it's just allowing Michelle so much opportunity to get back onto him. And in doing that, it's going to allow Henry up there. It's going to allow all, he's having to hold up Michelle, a bit of perfect park his car on the apex there, which is just allowing Henry to get right up behind him. And now Max Newt is just a second and a half behind. Ryan is really struggling. Something's not going right with him today, and he needs to sort it out. For a change, it's not the power set system in South Africa. Well, they're saying that Michelle's just run wide, which has allowed Henry to start coming along at the inside. They're currently too wide, but Max Newt is going to be looking to try and send it on the inside of Henry. Henry's not putting any fight on their friends. They're both Scandinavian, I think, and they're not looking to cause each other any problems. I couldn't remember whether Finland was a Scandinavian country, and yes, it is. Sorry. It is. Just embarrass myself there.
No, doing well. They're both Finnish drivers. They both are friends, so we've seen it happen before in some of the races where they're very lenient towards each other. We'll see how this race goes between the pair of them, as neither of these two want to take each other out. They're both very lenient towards each other, and now that Max has managed to get himself past Henry Comsey, I would assume he's going to stay there. Henry Comsey doesn't seem to have the answers to Max this season nor last season. Meanwhile, up at the front, Michelle Rodriguez and Ryan Skywalker still duking it out up at the ahead of the pack, but Ryan just about holding on to this lead with a very tentative grip. Michelle is really keeping him honest now, as we see Henry Comsey go quite wide in the background there. He's dropping off the back of this pack if he carries on driving like that, potentially some tyre wear coming into it. But all the drivers still circulating at about a similar time. Max circulating the fastest of the lot and catching up to the back of Michelle Rodriguez at a rate of knots.
Yeah, I mean, if I was Ryan, I know Michelle and Ryan are in communication with each other at this exact moment. I'd have been saying to him for the last 5 laps or so, just sit back and we'll go together. Please don't pressure me, because otherwise Max is going to catch up. and they've pressured and they fought, and Max has caught right up to the pair of them, and now they're going to have to. I just think they're going to keep on squabbling between each other. Ryan's clearly not focusing on where he's going; he's focusing on what's happening behind, and all of this is playing straight into Max Newt's hands.
It certainly is, and the more Max sees this happen in front of him, the more he's going to be smiling, because these two. Sorry, I'm distracted here by some random technical problems, but yeah, the more Max sees this, the more he's going to be grinning, because every single second that Ryan and Michelle seem to battle, well, that's more time lost to him. That being said, we see it on screen there, Michelle getting caught up in braking behind Ryan Skywalker there. Ryan broke I think a little bit too early, well, a little bit earlier than Michelle was expecting, and Michelle got a bit of a lock up there, had to turn his wheel left, then right, then left again, and that dropped him back right into the clutches of Max 7, who's now well on his tail coming through onto the final corner of the circuit. We'll see if Max 7 can make this move happen onto the start-finish straight. It's got high potential.
Yeah, I feel like Ryan's missed a week of racing, and he's just kind of forgotten how to race. It's bizarre. His team doesn't seem to be able to cope with any sort of pressure at the minute. He just seems a bit all over the place, a bit floppy, and it's just, if I'd be Max Newt, I'd be feeling very happy towards the second race, and I'd be very pleased with the comeback drive he's done, and he's got a perfect opportunity here as he goes to the inside, puts his nose up the inside of Michelle. Michelle has to yield that one, tries to hold it round the outside. He's still there, he's still alongside, and he's a little argy-bargy, little budging. Max Newt has gone onto the grass as a result of that, but has still made it count as Michelle was then trying to get his nose back up the inside. He's still there, just about. Max Newt's got a slightly better drive off the corner. Will Michelle be able to catch up? I don't think so. He's going for it, breaking a bit later, but Max has the inside. He's able to hold it. He's got the grip, which has just meant that Michelle's going to have to concede that one and try and come up. I wonder if he's going to come up with some sort of audacious lunge, but either way, he's right on the back of him. He's got to run now. If he can hold the car through the S's, get a good run through here, then into the he has the perfect opportunity. He's got a much better first turn and much better exit to the second. He's getting really into the slipstream now. This is perfect sort of opportunity if he wants to try and set up a move and send it. He's going to brake early, forcing Max to go defensive, try and get a slightly better run, but no, he didn't move out to the outside to open the corner up. All this has allowed Ryan to build a second and a half buffer, but it's costing Michelle. He really needed to be a little bit more tactical in that corner and think about the run down and not just try and think on that corner altogether. And once again, Ryan has completely missed his braking point, and it's just going to cost him so much time again. He's lost about 0.4 of a second in that one corner alone. I think Max is having a little bit of lag because I've just seen him jump around a bit, so that might play into his hands if Michelle ends up tapping him, but Michelle's had a much better exit out of the final corner. He's going to be in the slipstream now, a long run now down to Crowthorne. This is the longest straight as we see already. He's right there. I mean, a little bit of movement there, surprised Michelle. Michelle had to back out. Michelle now moving to the inside, is going to squeeze Ryan all the way to Max all the way to the outside. He gets the move up the inside. He's still there. Gets on the power well. Max, of course, having the inside through the right here, but Michelle's still on the left. He's going to probably want to brake a little bit early to cover off any sort of cutback. He does a fantastic job. That's a fantastic cutback from and Max has driven into the back of Michelle, not getting the exit he expected, which has really helped Michelle get away and hold this position for now, because the boost he's had has limited the amount of drive that Max is able to put down. But he's still there, he's still all over him, and once again the constant of this race is Ryan missing apexes and throwing away fantastic opportunities. He should be miles up the road, but instead he's still right with these guys because he's missing every braking zone and missing every single apex.
He is indeed beautifully called there, Tom. I think all the audience stayed with us on YouTube throughout that. I had some minor technical problems, but I think we are still stable. Anyway, if it did go down, don't apologise. Nonetheless, here we are still, as Tom was saying, with this battle between Max Newt 7 and Michelle Rodriguez. And what a fantastic move from Michelle that was coming into the first corner, but it all depends on whether he can hold on to it. He's got these last few corners and one more lap to hold on to this second position, take home a good haul of points, and, well, in Ryan's case, keep Max Newt 7 at bay in the championship. And Ryan is, well, he's making it easy for Max because he's, like he said, missing his braking points, not getting too far up the road, and Max is still within reaching distance of that lead, just as long as he can get past Michelle Rodriguez for second position. So here we are coming on to the final lap of the race. Ryan Skywalker currently in the lead, just over a second between himself and Michelle Rodriguez in second. But for how long will Michelle Rodriguez be in second for? Because here comes Max 27 trying to make a move around the outside of the first corner. It's not going to happen this time, but Max does switch to the inside, gets the power on as they come through in towards the Yusuke sweep. Here we are through barbecue now. Michelle Rodriguez holding on to that second position. Max just not able to make that move count this time round.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan did a very good, Michelle, sorry, did a very good thing going defensive there, but Max countered it perfectly. He went wide and, oh, they had a light collision. Max trying to make the move round the outside, but there's just not enough grip with Michelle was covering. I don't think Michelle expects him to try and make the move around the outside because Michelle's always run a bit wide there, so I think he was just taking his line, not expecting Max to try and send it around the outside, which is why I think there's that nudge there. Nothing malicious, and I think Ryan is finally doing what he should have done about 5 laps ago and bugger off up the road. But I think Michelle's done an absolutely fantastic job. He's practically Fernando Alonso with this amazing defense he's done. The might of Max and his driving hasn't let him come through, and it's going to cost Max a chance at the shot of the win here today in race 1. But Michelle is still a little bit vulnerable. Only 7 attempts, which is a long time, but any mistakes can open the door for Max to make a move. And we know Max is not one to let an opportunity go without giving it a good try.
There's certainly high potential. Well, here we go. This is the end of the race, so we'll see how it goes in the second race. But for now, in this first one, your winner is Ryan Skywalker at his home's Grand Prix. Takes home the victory. Starting from second, got a decent start, got himself into first position, and won the race after Max 27 dropped well down the order, but he didn't make it easy for himself. Michelle Rodriguez, the Fernando Alonso in training, finishes second, defends Max 27 right to the line, and keeps that second position and his championship hopes alive for his own drive. Henry Comsey dropped out of the position, was fighting for second early on, but just didn't have the pace to answer to Max 27 and finishes in fourth ahead of Dennis Bosman, Alexander Gray, Hugh Jass, and then here we are, the last driver on the grid. It's El Ripo taking home some consolidatory points here in 8th position. And, well, any points are better than no points, isn't that right, El Ripo? But he does finish last.
But you know what? I think it was Martin Brundle. No, not Martin Brundle. Who's the one who always over-exaggerates things for drives to survive? To finish first, you first have to finish first. First to finish first, you need to first finish. Yes, that's the quote probably. Either way, more or less accurate. Right. Doesn't sound like any logic that comes from him. So yeah, I think I've absolutely nailed it.
This probably sounds more logical than most of the things that come out of Will Buxton's mouth. Besides the F1 slander, we're going to get ready for this second race. Still the same 8 drivers on the grid. Never mind. Hugh Jass disconnects. Hopefully that's just a connection problem. He's able to reconnect within the next 2 minutes before this race starts. But as it stands, El Ripo starts on the front row of the grid on his lonesome, like Lewis Hamilton at Hungary in 2020. Behind him, directly behind him, it's Alexander Gray, the Swedish meatball himself.
2020 or 2021? I thought it was last year.
21 then. 21, I think.
Oh, here we go.
You're testing my F1 knowledge. Anyway, people understand the reference, I hope. Behind him, directly, it's the Swedish meatball. It's Alexander Gray alongside Dennis Bosman in 4th position. Then we've got Henry Comsey alongside Max 7. Michelle Rodriguez starts second to last, and Ryan Skywalker is going to start last on the grid this time round because, of course, he finished first in the last race. Here we go. 15 more minutes of racing. It's this heat. My fans just blowing warm air at me. I do apologise. 15 more minutes of exciting racing for these 8 drivers on the grid in the Mercedes SLS AMGs here at Kyalami. Hugh Jass rejoins. Fantastic to see him back in the race. He's going to give us some good racing up at the front and potentially challenge El Ripo into the first corner. We'll see. He's going to be the inside line for that kink. 50 seconds left on the time before the red lights do come on. And Tom, who's going to be in front by the first corner this time round?
El Ripo, I'm going to go. I'm going to be positive for him, as I think my sim's crashed. Maybe no, it's still up and running. Still good. Still here.
Well,
everything froze for a minute. The heat is doing the same thing to my graphics card that it's doing to my brain.
Yeah, we're all struggling here. we're holding it, just about holding it together. But solid prediction there. El Ripo in the lead by the first corner. We'll see how that goes. They're very, very tight on this grid. It's a very, very compact grid. But here we go. 8 drivers on the grid. 6 red lights to come on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 red lights on the light board, and they go out and away we go. That was a long way. The drivers racing the revs very, very quickly, and Max 7 did not get the best of starts there. He dropped back a few positions off the line, I think, and then coming into the first corner, there's a driver around. Is that Michelle Rodriguez in the wall there in the silver AMG? There's a few drivers around. That's El Ripo from first place all the way down to last already, and Hugh Jass is in the lead by the first corner. El Ripo suffering the most potent of commentators' curses there in the wall on the exit of the kink. Alexander Gray has managed to hold onto that second position, and he's going to make a move for first. He's alongside Hugh Jass, and he's ahead of him before they've even managed to reach Sunset Corner, and he's through into first position. Hugh Jass in second, Dennis Bosman in third, and Max 7 with a blistering start manages to get himself into fourth position. But who's that behind him? It's the South African Ryan Skywalker, looking to make a move down the inside, thinks better of it, breaks in a straight line, gets his car stable before the corner. Michelle Rodriguez fighting alongside Henry Comsey. Michelle Rodriguez has already taken a trip into the wall. He's trying to send Henry Comsey into one as they come through the S's now, down through towards Leo Kopp, but Henry Comsey holding on to that 6th position now as they come out of the S's corner, and they're into Leo Kopp. Oh, and they're side by side, and they've collided with each other, and Michelle Rodriguez decides that he's had a trip into the wall, so must Henry. Max 7 has managed to get himself up past Dennis Bosman, and Ryan Skywalker has done too. They were going too wide, and Ryan has managed to take both of them in one corner. Fantastic Lewis Hamilton-esque move there from Ryan Skywalker up into third position, taking a dodgy line through Mineshaft as he does, and through into Crocodiles now. He's still in third position, holding on to this third position now after that fantastic overtake move. Did you see that one better than me, Tom?
I did. I was watching on board Ryan, and it was perfect. The two of them fighting, went out a bit side by side. Ryan braked early for the corner, expecting, I think, some sort of chaos and not wanting to get involved. And as a result, it meant he had a perfect line just to put the power down, then get on past the pair of them, and he did it. I have to say, something that's slipped in that I don't think we mentioned is Diogo Teixeira has joined the session and has joined the race and is currently running in 7th position.
Oh, there he is, Diogo. Good to see him in the race. He said he'd be here for the second race. That's fantastic to see him. Out on the track ahead of Michelle Rodriguez and Henry Comsey now, the two drivers that decided to hug each other into the wall on that first lap. But what a move from Ryan Skywalker there. I just caught the end of it, to be honest with you, after the chaos between Michelle and Henry, but that looked like a beautiful move coming through Mineshaft and Leo Kopp there. So at the front of the pack, Alexander Gray's holding on to this first position and doing what Ryan should have done all last race. He's just clearing off. He's sticking to his lines, and he's got a 1.5 gap to him and Hugh Jass behind him. But Hugh's falling well into the grips of Ryan Skywalker and Max 7, two very fast drivers who I'm sure will make very, very quick work of catching up to both Hugh and Alexander very soon in this race. 12 minutes left. There's plenty of race left for both Ryan and Max to get to the front of the pack. Not discrediting Hugh and Alexander, of course. They're both very fast drivers, but there's different leagues sometimes, I think. As Hugh Jass looks to be defensive, Ryan Skywalker unable to make the move. Sorry, Tom.
And as a result, Ryan's going to be vulnerable on the exit. No, all sorts is happening with Max's internet at the minute, and he's jumped back now. He's coming back through. I don't know what's if actually real, but Max is moving to the inside now. He's backed out of that idea. Ryan, as a result, is running a bit wide. He's a bit all over the place, but Huge is doing a huge job as Ryan and him collide. Ryan goes sliding sideways, manages to catch it, does a fantastic job, but then gets collided again by Dennis. Still manages to keep the thing pointing in a straight line, and Hugh somehow, after all of that, is still in second place.
Hugh managing to drive an absolute tank of a car there. Unfortunate for Dennis Bosman there, just driving his line. Almost got collected by Ryan. Fortunately, he didn't go around, but he definitely did get disadvantaged for that. So Dennis giving him some unsatisfactory flashes behind Ryan Skywalker there. But that's very important when it comes to the championship, because now Ryan's down in 4th position and he's well off the back of Max 7. We'll see how long Hugh can keep Max behind him, because if Hugh can keep up this defense, then Max is not going to be able to run away from Ryan for too long, as Hugh is all over the shop. He's all over the exit curb, he's all over the inside curb, and Max 7 has taken a very safe stance there and just stuck to his line, got himself up past Hugh Jass. Hugh's still alongside him as they're coming down, I think, towards the Sunset Corner it is here. Hugh's got the inside line. He's going to try and break deep, but he's going to have to cede this position to Max 7, and Ryan is going to have to try and make the move on Hugh Jass once again. Ryan now looking to the inside. Oh, he's alongside. Oh, he sent Hugh Jass round. Ryan Skywalker has sent Hugh Jass around. I'm sure that's going to be one of them that's going to get looked at by the stewards after this race. That could mean a penalty, points for Ryan, and a damaging moment in the championship for him. But that's just how it is in these reverse grid races. They bring some chaos and they bring some kind of slower drivers towards the front of the pack. And, well, you need to know how to navigate them. You need to know how to overtake and defend correctly, don't you?
Yeah, I've been watching Ryan. He just seemed really quite scrappy today in this second race especially. I think him and Max, as they were both working their way through the field together, they both looked very, very out of touch from their normal selves. Really just, I don't really know, I can't seem to think of the word for it, but it's a bit, they were messy. Let's just go with that. They were messy, they were off, they didn't look composed. They just looked like they weren't really sure what they were doing and they were just going to try anything instead of setting the moves up and getting them done at textbook style. Yeah,
I think they both just, I don't know. I don't want to give too much technical analysis of it. I am not in a position to give that technical analysis. I'll leave that to you, Tom. You are the one with the racing experience. But as we said, Ryan Skywalker, his scrappiness has cost him today. He's down in third position, and he is 3.5 climbing, 3.7 seconds behind Max, who's 7 ahead of him. The man who he needs to catch, the man who he needs to not let get away from him in this championship fight. Fortunately.
So if I disconnect, sorry, I am in the downhill performance.
What on earth is going on with this English weather? This is incredible. You're in a thunderstorm.
Yeah, I was, that sort of smell you get as it's coming in. I was like, oh, that smells a bit. Pulled the curtains and looked out. There's a huge ass spider about to come into the room. And then I just see a flash of light, and I'm just like, I'm shutting my door. So if my connection goes, I am sorry. Right, back to the race. Max still 2 seconds away from Alexander, and Ryan is starting to close the gap a little bit, but he's not got the pace in him that you would expect from him. He was top of the hot laps, but is he able to pull out some hot laps today? Right now, he needs them. We'll have to see.
Yeah, the setup is exactly the same, so you should think that Ryan would have the bit between his teeth. He's got the practice, he's got the laps, and he's got the proven track time, but it's just not working from this time around. He's still keeping the gap evenish to Max Newt 7 here. He's got 8.5 minutes for him to sort his act out and catch up to him. Behind them all in 6th and 7th position, Henry Comsey and El Rippo are duking it out. Here they are. Henry Comsey, man with graphic issues. His cars were going black. He's having some graphics driver problems, but he's managing to race very well here, and he's holding on to that 6th position ahead of El Rippo. But El Rippo launched a pretty fortuitous attack here as they come through into the last few corners, but just not enough to give the answers to the Finnish driver here, and Henry Comsey up into 6th position. Now El Rippo drops into the grasps of Michel Rodriguez, the man who's also trying to make moves because he wants his championship hopes to stay alive. At the very least, his hopes for 3rd position.
Yeah, Henry with a fantastic move up the inside of El Rippo into the cube. I had to watch it. It was absolutely fantastic. Lovely stuff. And just the sort of thing we come to expect from Henry when he's absolutely on form.
Oh, certainly. Henry is a very quick, a very clean and a safe driver. He's got a bit of a reputation for himself in that sense. And all credit to him, he's managed to get himself past El Rippo very cleanly there by the looks of it. And now El Rippo is becoming victim after victim. Michel Rodriguez is the new predator. As that sounds a bit weird. Through they come down, Michel Rodriguez and El Rippo through Sunset Corner up towards Clubhouse Bend. Michel Rodriguez is all very wide there, all over the exit curb, all over the grass, just sticking behind El Rippo for now. El Rippo taking that left-hander very cleanly, and this is the best thing that El Rippo can possibly do. We know that El Rippo is a decent driver, but he's just not got the pace to fight these drivers, so if El Rippo could just stick to his lines, do what he needs to do, he's not obliged to get out of the way of Michel Rodriguez. There's no blue flags here because they are fighting for position. So he's doing everything he needs to do, and he's being a model driver here, El Rippo. Michel Rodriguez unable to find a way past him still. I wonder if there's any damage on his car, if he's struggling with steering, Tom. Can you have a look at that?
I will endeavour to try and find out for you if I remember what the camera controls are.
We'll see.
Chances are I totally forget, so I'll try and figure that one out and I'll report back.
Right, we'll see if Michel Rodriguez is suffering with damage here. He's really all over the shop, struggling to get his lines right, running very wide at the final few corners there, braking very deep and really not taking the right line. Dio Texera, the late entry, is in 9th position and he's not too far at the back of these two, so if these two keep battling, Diogo could make up 2 positions potentially, and that'd be really nice. A really nice reward for the Portuguese driver to join and make up a couple of positions in the race. We'll see though. It all hangs in the balance at the back of the pack.
Michel's steering is about 5 to 10 degrees off centre, so he will be suffering some extra drag as a result of that. His car is properly bashed up as a result, but he's still brave on the brakes. He's still going to give it a good old try. against El Ripper, whose car is certainly in better condition. I wouldn't say in particularly great condition, as its wing is definitely a bit more hanging off as he makes a fantastic send up the inside. Job done. El Rippo opened the door a little bit. I say job done very early as he is still alongside, but El Rippo opened the door a little bit and Michelle just sent it, which has allowed him to get alongside, but El Rippo's doing a fantastic job to hold that inside line. But surely now, through Clubhouse, Michelle's going to be able to get the job done, and yes, carries a bit more speed, gets the exit, and it's just able to get away from him. But I think Diogo's had an issue because Diogo's lost a load of times. I think he must have had a spin somewhere.
Yeah, Diogo potentially had a bit of oversteer or a spin at some point in the lap. He's dropped well off the back of this pack, but what a fantastic move from Michelle Rodriguez that was. As we can see on the stream, he is, like you say, 5 or 10 degrees out when he's driving down the straight, so battling damage and still able to overtake drivers that aren't too slow is very, very decent going from Michelle Rodriguez there as he circulates now in 7th position. It's going to be good points for him, but not as good as he would have wanted to after his 2 incidents in the first lap alone. Well, Michelle Rodriguez holding up his contention for the unluckiest driver on the grid. However, elsewhere on the grid, whilst these two drivers have kind of squabbled, they've kind of finished their battle. El Rippo going to have to settle for 8th position by the looks of it now, unless Michelle Rodriguez goes off again. At the front, Max27 is still hunting down Alexander Gray, and Alex is putting in some really good laps here. He's sticking to his lines and putting in some very decent lap times. Laps of 1:42.575, that's only 1/10 down on Max27, who we know is an absolute world-class driver. So really, really great improvement from Alexander Gray here. He's really good. Well, I'll tell you what, Alex is probably the best case study to show how much drivers can improve, especially within this championship, because he has come from strength to strength within this championship and now is a serious contender for podiums on a good day, and he is currently leading this race with a strong hand. 1 second and a half ahead of Max27, 3.5 minutes to go. Do you think Max is going to catch him by the end?
He's hemorrhaging time. Stop praising him.
I'm commentators cursing him.
7/10 of a second in that section of corners. Stop it, chappers.
I was going to say, do you think Max is going to catch him by the end of this race? It looks like it's on the cards. Never said he would be, but he's currently sat in 6th position, and if he wins this race or comes second, which, I mean, both positions are on the cards right now, let's be honest, that's going to be a great haul of points for him. Currently sat in 6th, 27 points. He could be catching up to the back of Dennis Bosman and Michelle Rodriguez. Maybe not Dennis, because he's currently running in 4th very, very strongly. But he could be catching up to his fellow Swedish meatball, Michelle, because Michelle is currently down in 7th.
We will say that Ryan has once again done another 41.9. As soon as the pressure's not on for him to lead the race, he seems to be able to drive his bloody car. But either way, he's going to get a points advantage from this event over Max if he can hold his position. But if Max ends up getting past Alexander, then it's going to be equal on points for the... Oh, no. Do we get points for pole position? I can't remember.
It's fastest lap. Fastest lap points.
Fastest lap. Oh, I think Ryan might be taking that. We'll have to find out. Either way, it's going to be close on the points if Ryan can take... If Max takes the lead in this race and wins it, it's going to be very close on the points. If he doesn't, then Ryan gets a points advantage on him. And I think Alexander's doing a good job to just... He is definitely falling back. He's got 2 laps to go. That's all he's got to do to hold on for this as a fantastic... What could be, I think... Don't quote me if I'm wrong. Do quote me if I'm right. Could be his first win. I know he's won. No, he has. I've just checked the Discord. He has, in fact, won races before. So he'll win another race here at Track Titan if he can get this converted.
Yeah, Alex has managed to win a race before, so it's not out of the realm of possibilities for this driver. He knows what it's like to stand on the top step of the podium. But it's going to be a very, very challenging win here, because here comes Max27. He's now got this gap down to underneath a second. There's only 5/10 between these two drivers as they fly down towards the first corner. Max putting in a blistering lap time last time round of a 1:42.443, his best lap of the race. Ryan Skalka behind him, putting in fast-ish laps, now a 1:42.746, but not catching up to them as fast as he would have wanted to. But Max27 certainly now under the cosh, looking to make that first place move. He's got this lap and one more. He's coming up. He's almost alongside him as they're coming through towards the sunset corner, taking the long right-hander here before a little bit of braking in towards Clubhouse Bend. Alexander Gray, all he can do at this point is stick to his lines that he's been doing all race and hope for the best, because we know that Max has got some pace in him, especially when the pressure is on. We know what Max is like, don't we?
Yeah, rumour has it he's quite quick, this guy. I think his championship win last time out kind of proves, not last time out, but last season kind of proves that.
Yeah, it might just kind of prove that sort of stuff. And, well, he's really putting in the champions drive here, fighting from third last on the grid, currently running in second, potentially going to take first on the final lap. We'll see. Alexander Gray, he's really in the gauntlet now. He's got like 19 corners to defend Max 27, to defend this win right to the line. It's a battle of the Scandinavians, it's a battle of the Vikings. We'll see how this one goes out as they come through the final corners of the penultimate lap in towards the final corner in Ingwe. Alexander Gray sticking to his lines once again. As we said, that's all he could possibly do, and they cross the line. Max 27 running very wide on the exit of the corner there. I'm sure there's going to be a track limits penalty. We'll see. We might potentially have to have a look at that after the race has finished.
Ryan with another fastest lap of 1:41.8. He might be a bit further back. He might be not really there to give the contention, but he's quick at the minute, and I reckon he's close enough. If something was to happen to these two, he's definitely close enough to pounce on opportunities. Max is now looking to set up the move. He dropped back a bit, give himself a better run through, but not quite the exit off the corner he would have wanted. Either way, Alexander seems to have a far worse exit off the corner. He's going to be vulnerable now as they go sweeping on through Sunset. Max is going to look to make a move up the inside into Clubhouse, but he backs out of it. Instead, goes wide again. Starts to look to make set himself a move up for the S's. Max is now along the inside. An absolute textbook, fantastic job of attacking. And then we've got him holding round the outside, and he's just ran out of road, unfortunately, for Alexander, which has just allowed Max to sweep on by. All of that, though, has made him very vulnerable for Ryan. Ryan just half a second behind Alexander now. He could be looking at getting a second place in this race.
Ryan is really just suddenly appeared in the background of the shot. He was just suddenly there. These two battling away has dropped them back into the clutch to the South African driver. He could be on for a second place position. I think Max has potentially cleared away. Really under the pressure there. Max 27, Ryan Skywalker making the lunge up the inside.
Oh, he's a collision!
He's colliding Max 27 and he's spun him out on the final few corners. Ryan Skywalker moves into the lead of the race. Alexander Gray is in second position, and that's surely not going to stand. That's going to be a penalty after the race, I'm sure of it. But Max 27 drops out of the lead, and Ryan Skywalker inherits the lead, he inherits the win, and he crosses the line in first position for a double win here at Kyalami, his home race. That he must have prayed to some kind of gods there that Alexander Gray torpedoed Max 27 in the final few corners.
I think, and I'm going to say I think with almost certainty, Alexander was looking in his rearview mirror. He wasn't focusing on what was ahead, and then when he realised where he was, he absolutely stamped on the brakes, and it just wasn't enough of the brakes there, as he just had to end up using Max Newt to slow himself down.
My goodness me, what drama on the final few corners there. That was craziness as we come through the crocodiles there. But Ryan Skywalker takes home his second win of the day at Kyalami. Alexander Gray finishes in second position, but that's surely going to get him a penalty at that serious.
Well, we'll carry on talking, and eventually he'll I think we should probably pull Max Newton. I think it's a heart-stopping moment. I think we should have a little interview with Max if he's available.
Let's grab him now. I'll quickly grab Max 27. I'll abduct him. Max, commiserations, mate. That was a heart in the mouth moment at the end for you there, but you drove so well in the second race. I don't really know what to say to you, Tom. Do you have anything to say in that final moment?
Honestly, commiserations, of course. What was going through your head when you were away in first position? Did you think you'd had it?
It's not quite a Grand Slam, but 2 wins at your home Grand Prix. That's happy days for you. Do you think you're going to continue this form onto next week?
Yes, I definitely am going to try. Hopefully it's motorsport.
It is.
Oh yeah, okay.
Well, I can assure you, I'll be hoping you don't.
Thank you, Tom. I hope you look when I win.
So
I can assure you, I won't be watching next week. I'll be in the north of England, ready for a 24-hour race.
Good guy.
Fantastic stuff. Well done, Ryan. We'll catch up with you next week.
Yep, thanks.
Let's grab one last person. I'm going to out-grab Alexander Gray.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's get him in here.
Alex, I've abducted you, mate.
Yeah.
Alex, what happened?
You realise the brake pedal is the one in the middle?
I did. Oh no, I don't have 3 pedals. I can say that. So
it's the one on the left there.
Yeah, I noticed. No, I just completely blocked out the mind from Max and thought about Ryan on my right. So
Exactly,
Yeah, I noticed
exactly
after
what
what I
Tom
did.
thought.
I noticed after what I've done, I was like, oh god, here comes the penalty points.
It was as you were barreling towards him, I had it in my head. He hasn't paid any attention to what's in front of him.
Yeah. Oh.
I've seen it happen many occasions. I've watched chappers spin out in front of me in real life a lot. And
I
Right,
was
well,
already going faster than what I was usually doing, so it was also that.
well, I mean, you had